right, all right. And indeed, it is one of our final countdowns for the Philadelphia Eagles. I am Sean Cressman. I'm the Bald Eagle. You're listening to the Bald Eagle, or possibly watching the Bald Eagle podcast. A completely 100% Philadelphia Eagles podcast. It comes along with 3 rules. It has some structure to it, admittedly. The first and the most important rule for me anyway is that there are no politics. We don't ever talk about politics. There hasn't been yet. The only exception to that rule would be if it impacts the game, and as of now, it has not. We've discussed stadium closures and things like that, but we don't discuss why it happened, who decided it, any of that stuff, because then everybody gets pissed. So no politics, no personal information. I'm not going to talk about myself, and not that I think anybody cares, but more importantly, I'm not going to talk about the players' personal lives. I watch Fox NFL Sunday often, and the one thing that I like the least is when they sit there and interview players, as if it really is important to me what they bought in their off season, how many kids they have, any of that stuff. None of that stuff has anything to do with the game, so I don't really pay attention. All right, so let's move to the final countdown. We have 4 days because I'm currently recording Wednesday, December 30th. It is tomorrow is the beginning of week 17, so all the information we're talking about is through the end of week 16, the NFL week 16. So the countdown, we got 4 days. We play Washington. They come into Philly. They play we play at the Link Sunday the 3rd. It's an 8:20 game. It was flexed to the Sunday night game, and I'm not sure why. I think there's another game, Pittsburgh possibly, that could have been more competitive, but it was flexed to the 8:20 spot, so it is on Sunday night. As of today, temperatures in Philly are supposed to be in the low 40s. There's about a 60% chance of rain, and we have natural grass, so that could affect the game possibly. All right, NFC East standings. Okay, so over this past week, the Giants lost to Baltimore 27-13. Dallas beat us, I hate to say, and then Washington lost to Carolina 20-13. That's actually everything that, with the exception of our loss, that's everything that we needed to happen for us to possibly get into the playoffs, to be the NFC East champion. But we lost, and one loss for us eliminates us immediately. So we're out. No playoffs for the Eagles. Now we're talking about the path to the playoffs here. Even though we don't technically have one, we're going to talk about other NFC East teams. So we lost. We can't go to the playoffs. Washington is still in first place at 6-9. They do have a 2-game lose streak. So if they win, they'll go into the playoffs winning. So that makes sense. Dallas is 6-9. They have a 3-game win streak, so they have some momentum. The Giants are 5-10. They have a 3-game loss streak. And then, of course, the Eagles, we are 4-10-1 in last place, and we have lost our last 2 games. So Dallas and the Giants play Sunday at 1 p.m. So by the time we play at 8, we'll know who won that game, which means if the Cowgirls won, actually what it means is that if Washington beats us, Washington is then the NFC East division leader, and they are the sole team from our division to go into the playoffs. However, if we win, the winner of Dallas Washington or Dallas Giants goes to the playoffs. So if Dallas wins, if Dallas beats the Giants, and I think that's probably likely, then we need to lose to the Redskins, or I'm sorry, we need to lose to Washington, because there is no way in hell that I want the Cowgirls to win the NFC East and get into the playoffs. So I'm willing, throw in whatever quarterback we have in third string. What's his name? Throw the third string guy in. Give all the rookies some practice. Let's treat it as a preseason game, because in fact, I would rather not win. And not only would we prevent the Cowgirls from getting to the playoffs, but don't forget, we would improve our draft spot. So it isn't just spite. Okay. We played the Cowgirls in Dallas this past weekend. So let's go over the drive highlights, starting with the first quarter. All right, Dallas won the toss. They chose to defer. We received. So we start 1st and 10 on our 25. First play, Jalen Hurts is in the shotgun. Throws a pass to Jalen Reagor down the middle. Has good protection, has plenty of time for Reagor to get open. Reagor gets some separation. The pass is low, but from the different views that I've seen, it was catchable. I think he could have caught the ball. And I don't, maybe perhaps it's the angles, perhaps I'm expecting too much, but there are some instances when both Reagor and definitely Deshaun Jackson, I feel, did not give as much effort as they could have. This is a play where I thought if Rager jumps for this, he dives for the ball, I think he has a chance, and mostly and should be even able to catch it, but he doesn't. It appears catchable. Rager doesn't really try. But the good news is that Diggs was holding Rager earlier on in the route prior to the pass being thrown. So there's a defensive holding penalty on the first play. So we still have 1st and 10, but we move up 5 yards to our 30. We run Miles Sanders up the middle for 7 yards, brings up a 2nd and 3 on our 37. Run Sanders again to the right for 5 yards. That brings up a 1st and 10 on our 42. This time Hurts is in the shotgun. We run a running back screen on the left-hand side to Miles Sanders. He's able to get 3 yards. Along with those 3 yards, there's an unnecessary roughness penalty on Wilson of the Cowgirls. So that extra 15 yards gives us another 1st and 10 on Dallas's 40. So Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Great protection. Initially, nobody's open. He climbs the pocket well. He follows his lineman's blocks. As he starts running, you can see Ward open in front of him, but he pulls the ball down. I don't know if he felt like there was too much pressure, if he felt like he was going to get hit. I think he should have thrown it to Ward. Instead, he runs it, and he's able to get 11 yards, which is good. 1st down to Dallas's 29. However, if he would have been able to get it to Ward, which it seems like he could have, not only would he probably have had another 5 yards, but on top of that, whenever he dumps it off to a receiver or a running back, he's now avoiding injury. I mean, I love the fact that he's able to run when nobody's open or the pocket starts to collapse. That's very valuable when we have a struggling offensive line and a young receiver core. However, I don't want him to run because I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want any of our quarterbacks to get hurt. That's a significant issue. So I think he should have dumped it off to Ward. No big deal. Got 11 yards on the run. Brought up a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 29. He's in the shotgun again. This time it's an RPO. He decides to keep it, goes to the right side of the line and gets 12 yards. So that 12-yard run brings up a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 17. We run good old Jordan Howard to the left. He gets 2 yards, brings up a 2nd and 8 on Dallas's 15. Hurts in the gun again. This time he throws to the left to Rager, has excellent protection. It's a quick, accurate timing throw, and it's a good route by Rager. And I mentioned timing throws only because it's something that, and I mentioned this last time, Wentz hasn't done, it didn't do successfully while he was our starting quarterback. So that 5-yard completion brings up 3rd and 3 on Dallas's 10. We run Sanders again to the right for 6 yards, brings up 1st and goal on Dallas's 4. We run Miles Sanders to the right side for another yard, brings up 2nd and goal on Dallas's 3. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Another time when no one was open, Kelsey had a couple of bad plays. Overall, very good game by Kelsey, but a couple of times he got beat. This was one of them. He gets bull rushed by their defensive tackle Hamilton. Hurts feels that pressure, has to elude it, runs to his right. Ertz boxes out his receiver. Now, I know we're talking football, but we usually references are used across sports. Boxing out is a basketball term. When you're under the rim looking to get a rebound, you're supposed to get in front of everybody else and then put your arms out and prevent them from getting around you in front of you so that you can rebound the ball. It's called boxing out. That's essentially what Ertz was doing in the end zone. He had his guy boxed out for either a low pass, which would have been difficult, or at a very minimum, just to prevent him from getting to Hurts. So running down the right side of the sideline, gets into the corner of the end zone. He pushes in, he dives in, crosses the ball across the goal line for a touchdown. Great play. Unfortunately, if you replay it, and of course they do with all scoring plays, his Jalen Hurts' big toe, actually, it might have been his right foot, so it might have been his pinky toe, but he was maybe an inch out of bounds when he planted his right foot when he ran up the sideline. So one of the things that I mentioned later, and one of the things I'm going to talk about now, is that technically, because he had not passed the line of scrimmage before his right foot was out of bounds, this was technically considered a sack. He had 3 sacks. He was sacked 3 times. This is considered one of them. I don't consider this a sack by any means, because if he would have been able to, stay 3 inches to the left, and it's not like he didn't have room, it would have been a touchdown instead. So, but in any case, because he did step out behind the line of scrimmage, technically it was a sack. Technically, we lose a yard. So that brings up 3rd and goal on the 4. This time we run Miles Sanders to the right. The offensive line does an excellent job blocking. In fact, Malata has to pull. He runs up the hole and he just pushes their linebacker Smith out of the way, giving a great seam for Sanders to run through for 4 yards and a touchdown. So our first drive, we drive down the field, mostly running plays. It's an 11-play, 75-yard drive. We score a touchdown. We kick the extra point, 7-0. And that drive took 6 minutes exactly off the clock. So we kick. Cowboys get the ball, 1st and 10 on their 25 with 9 minutes left in the first quarter. Dalton's in the gun. He drops back. He rolls to the right, has plenty of time. We're not able to get pressure on him. Cooper runs an up and in. Now, Jaquette got a lot of flack for having a horrible game against the Cowgirls, but he wasn't the only one. Slay didn't have a horrible game, but he wasn't perfect, and this is the one instance where he wasn't. Cooper runs an up and in. Slay turns his hips outside. As soon as Cooper plants that foot to run inside, it puts Slay immediately in a bad position because his hips are twisted facing outside. Now he has to turn around and adjust, and it just takes much more time than it does for Cooper to plant and go. He gets plenty of separation from Slay. Epps is drifting in the direction of Cooper. He's the safety, but he drifts too far. Cooper basically goes right by him, creates an open void, and we were playing a zone, and Dalton's able to throw the pass right there for 35 yards on their first offensive play. So that was Slay's coverage, and that was 35 yards in front of Slay. I saw a meme somewhere where it said that he, I think, had like less than 5 yards and everybody else had all the yards. Not 100% accurate. So that 35-yard completion brings up a 1st and 10 for the Cowgirls on our 40. They run Ezekiel Elliott to the left. He gets 1 yard. I think this is the one that I posted to my social media. This is the one where Vinny Curry uses an inside swing move, goes right past their left tackle Knight, untouched to disrupt the play in the backfield. I don't think he actually tackles Elliott. This is not the play that I posted, but he disrupts the play and it only goes for 1 yard. So after that 1 yard, brings up 2nd and 9 on our 39. Dalton's back. He throws an incomplete pass this time to Gallup. It's covered by Jaquette. Jaquette actually has good coverage. The ball is overthrown. But Jaquette grabs Gallup's arm as they're looking for the ball. As they're turning around looking for the ball, he grabs his arm, pulls on it, pass interference. If he doesn't do that one thing, it's good coverage. It's an overthrown ball. It's 3rd and 9. But instead, he holds his hand, 26-yard pass interference penalty. So Dallas has a 1st and 10 on our 13. They run Ezekiel Elliott to the left for 5 yards, brings up a 2nd and 5 on our 8. Dalton's back in the gun again. He drops back. No one's open. Vinny Curry is on the right-hand side, takes a few steps outside, then cuts in on their left tackle Knight, beating him. This is the one I posted. Elliott tries to block Curry, tries to help, but Curry just shoves him right out of the way and gets to Dalton for a sack. Excellent play by Vinny Curry, just a beast. Gets the sack on 2nd and 5. It's a 9-yard loss, so it brings up 3rd and 14 on our 17. So Dalton's back in the shotgun again, drops back, throws a pass on the left-hand side to Pollard. We had good coverage. We didn't get, and no single person got good penetration from our line, but all Cox, Graham, and Curry, they all kind of met at Dalton around the same time. He runs to his left to escape it, and he ends up throwing the ball away. So good play by our defensive line, good play by the secondary to keep everybody covered and force a throwaway. So that brings up 4th and 14. They kick a field goal. That makes the score 7-3 in favor of the Eagles. That was a 6-play, 58-yard drive. Took 2 minutes and 52 seconds. They kick off. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 19. Hurts is in the shotgun. He drops back, rolls to his right, sees Deshaun Jackson open field, throws a perfect pass to Deshaun Jackson, keep him in stride. And Deshaun, of course, runs past everybody, 81 yards and a touchdown. One of the things that I wanted to point out on this, and I pointed out last time, and I posted this one to my social media, was that one of the things that makes this play possible that, again, Wentz was actually doing the opposite, is that Hurts looks off the safety. So as Deshaun Jackson's to the left of the line of scrimmage, he runs an up. I think it was probably a post or a flag, just straight deep pattern. But he's on the left and he runs up across the field to the right. Well, on the right-hand side, I don't know if it's Ertz or who it is, but there's another receiver that runs up and runs probably a corner pattern to the left, and it's shallow. So what Hurts does is he drops back, he looks to his right at the shallow receiver, and it draws their safety up to that shallow receiver. Then he turns and then while he's drawing that safety up, Deshaun Jackson just runs right behind the safety, so there's no overhead help. So now Deshaun Jackson's one-on-one, and he can beat anybody one-on-one in a deep pass, and he's open. So now Flashback to a few weeks ago when Wentz was our quarterback. If he continued playing the way he had the whole season, he would have stared down Deshaun Jackson. The safety would have noticed, and if he would have thrown the ball, most likely would have been into double coverage and an interception, or he would have held on to it, waiting for that to open up, and he would have gotten sacked, possibly a fumble. So excellent play by Hurts to look off the safety. Deshaun Jackson runs a good pattern because he knew he was getting the ball. Good throw, 81-yard touchdown, and quickly, first quarter, we are up 14-3. That was a one-play, 81-yard drive, took 20 seconds. So we kick off. Dallas gets the ball 1st and 10 on their own 25 with 5 minutes and 48 seconds left in the first quarter. They run Elliott to the right for 6 yards, brings up a 2nd and 4 on their own 31. This time Dalton's in the shotgun, throws a pass to the right to Gallup. It was too high, uncatchable, so it falls incomplete. Brings up a 3rd and 4 on their own 31. They run Elliott up the middle for about 3 yards. That brings up a 4th and 1 on their 34, so they punt. So nice 3 and out. So we get the ball 1st and 10 on our 14 with 4 minutes and 28 seconds left in the first quarter. We run Sanders to the right for 7 yards, brings up a 2nd and 3 on our 21. This time we run Sanders again, but he's not able to gain any yard. He actually loses a yard. And that's because Gallimore, this is another play that was done poorly through Kelsey, or by Kelsey. Gallimore is able to run right through him and pushes him back into the backfield and kind of disrupts the play, which is unfortunate because if I recall, everything else was lined up really well. So that 1 yard loss brings up a 3rd and 4 on our 20. We run Sanders again, this time to the left for 2 yards, not enough for a first down, so we punt. The Cowgirls start their next drive 1st and 10 on their 37, 2 minutes and 24 seconds left in the first quarter. Dalton's back. This time he passes to Gallup. We have decent coverage by Jaquette. Curry bull rushes Knight into Dalton as he's throwing. Passes overthrown. Good play by Curry. He had a couple of really good plays early on. I don't remember hearing or seeing him do anything meaningful later in the game, but early on he did a good job. So that 2nd and 10. Or I'm sorry, that incomplete pass brings up a 2nd and 10 on Dallas's 37. They run Pollard to the left end for 1 yard, brings up a 3rd and 9 on Dallas's 38. Dalton's in the gun again. Curry had a great day again, or initially had a great day against Knight. Maybe they replaced him, but Curry bull rushes Knight again, hits Dalton right as he releases the ball. Jaquette is a step behind Gallup on a crossing pattern, difficult to cover, especially even if you're not a rookie. Dalton throws an excellent pass on that crossing pattern for a 14-yard completion. Jaquette actually held Gallup at the beginning of the top of that play, but they declined the holding penalty because the play was 14 yards. So that 14-yard completion brings a 1st and 10 on our 48. Dalton drops back, throws a tight end screen this time to Bell. He's able to get 7 yards, brings up a 2nd and 3 on our 41. They run Pollard up the middle. We stop him. Actually, he loses a yard. So it brings up a 3rd and 4 on our 42. Pollard runs again, this time to the left side for 4 yards, and that ends the first quarter. So we begin the second quarter. The Cowgirls still have the ball, 1st and 10 on Philly's 38. Dalton passes this time to the left side to Elliott for 9 yards. We rush 4. We're not able to get any pressure. No one's open. Dalton dumps the ball off to Elliott. TJ Edwards misses his tackle, and he's able to get another 7 yards. So had TJ Edwards made the tackle, it would have been a 2-yard gain instead of 9. So that brings up a 2nd and 1 on our 29. Elliott runs up the middle for 1 yard. We bring 6, and everybody just collapsed on Elliott. That's why we were able to stop him after only 1 yard. But that 1 yard does give them a first down. So 1st and 10 on our 28. Dalton this time passes to Elliott to the right-hand side, pushed out of bounds for only 7 yards. So that brings up a 2nd and 3 on our 21. This time Dalton's in the gun again. Gallup is lined up wide to his right. Jaquette's tight in coverage. Jaquette runs a corner blitz. So he immediately abandons his receiver to attempt to get to Dalton. We're in zone. That's what you typically do when you blitz, because you don't have enough people to cover man, because you want to bring them in to get to the quarterback. Edwards tries to cover up his area real quick and even runs towards Gallup, but Gallup's able to cross behind him, get into an open spot. Dalton throws an accurate pass quickly. Gallup breaks 2 tackles and is able to get into the end zone for a 21-yard touchdown pass. So disappointing, but even after that pass and that 10-play, 63-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 15 seconds, we are still up 14-10. They kick off. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 16 with 13 minutes and 5 seconds left in the first half. Hurts this time has to scramble, run to the left for 2 yards. He dropped back. There was good protection, but no one was open, so he took off. So that brings up a 2nd and 8 on our 18. We run Sanders to the right for 7 yards. Brings up a 3rd and 1 on our 25. Hurts is in the gun again. We have 3 receivers to his left, 1 to the right. We have the RPO with the run going toward the 3 receivers. Dallas's line crashes down to prevent that run. The one receiver that is on the right-hand side runs a deep pattern to draw his receiver down the field. Receiver runs Hurts runs an RPO, realizes that nobody is on the right-hand side. Everybody crashed down, anticipating the handoff. Keeps the ball and is able to run for 20 yards on a 3rd and 1. So excellent play this time by Jalen Hurts. That 20 yards brings up a 1st and 10 on our 45. Good play call too. Excellent execution. So that brings up again a 1st and 10 on our 45. Hurts is in the shotgun again. This time he throws to Fulgham. We have great protection. Hurts has time to stand in the pocket, waiting for the deep receiver to clear so Fulgham gets open. So essentially one receiver is running a deep route. Fulgham is basically parallel to him, and then at some point breaks his pattern off in an effort to hopefully cause some confusion with the corners. Maybe they switch people. Maybe the deep receiver is the one's open. Maybe somebody stops and because Hurts is looking at the shallow receiver, they cover him and leave the deep guy open. In any case, it works. Fulgham cuts out. He finds an empty spot. He sits down, and Hurts throws an accurate, quick pass for 19 yards. So that 19-yard completion brings up a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 36. We're in the shotgun again. We give it to Jordan Howard. He runs for 1 yard off the left-hand side. Brings up a 2nd and 9 on Dallas's 35. This time, Hurts is in the shotgun. Good protection. Nobody's open, so he throws the ball away. Brings up a 3rd and 9 on Dallas's 35. Matt Pryor is off sides. We lose 5 yards. So that brings up a 3rd and 14 on Dallas's 40. Hurts this time is in the gun again. Drops back. No one's open again. Throws the ball away again. So that on that 3rd and 14, we aren't able to convert. So 4th and 14 on Dallas's 40. We punt. The Cowgirls get the ball 1st and 10 on their own 23 with 9 minutes and 16 seconds left in the first half. Dalton passes this time to Schultz to the left-hand side. We bring 6. Unfortunately, Dalton's able to get the ball out quickly, and he does it short, which is where all our coverage was voided to blitz, and they complete the pass for 4 yards. So that brings up a 2nd and 6 on Dallas's 27. This time, Dalton keeps it, runs for 9 yards, brings up 1st and 10 on Dallas's 36. Dalton's in the shotgun again. They run a wide receiver screen. And they do a good job of blocking well downfield. They they throw the wide receiver screen, and not only is our offensive line man for man blocked, but then they break away from it, and they do an excellent job of blocking all of our linebackers and our receivers. And that wide receiver screen turns into a 55-yard play. So after that 55-yard screen to Gallup, it's a 1st and 9 on our 9-yard line. So they run Elliott to the left for 5 yards. Brings up a 2nd and goal on our 4. They run Elliott again, this time to the right for 3 yards. Brings up a 3rd and goal on our 1. This time Dalton's under center. I believe this was a broken play. Based on what everybody does, I believe they're supposed to hand the ball off to Elliott. But I think the only person that doesn't, either Dalton doesn't know it or Elliott doesn't know it, because Dalton keeps the ball. If Elliott didn't know it, most likely Dalton would have given it to him, and there would have been a fumble. So I'm thinking that Dalton kept it accidentally. In any case, he fakes the handoff to Elliott, goes to roll to his, I believe, his right, and nobody's in patterns. Everybody was expecting a run on the offense, so he's able to take it. He runs to the right hand side, and we're able to push him out of bounds for a 1-yard loss on 3rd and 1. So that brings up 4th and goal on our 2. So they actually kick a field goal. So the score is now 14-13 in favor of the Eagles. That was a 7-play, 75-yard drive that took 3 minutes and 23 seconds off the clock. After that touchdown, they kick off. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 25 with 5 minutes and 53 seconds left in the half. We run Miles Sanders to the left. It's an RPO. Sanders keeps the ball. Gregory just does an excellent job running down Sanders. He's able to actually get him from behind. And again, another situation where if Sanders is able to, or if Gregory just gets chipped a little and slows him down, if he's able to get free, blocking was set up really well for that run. But anyway, so after that that 4-yard loss brings up 2nd and 14 on our 21. This time Jalen Hurts is in the shotgun, throws to Goddard for 5 yards on his left-hand side. He had good protection, threw a quick, accurate pass. So that brings up 3rd and 9 on our 26. This time Hurts throws a deep pass to Ward. He has good protection. Ward runs a good route. It's a quick, accurate throw for 17 yards. Brings up a 1st and 10 on our 43. Shotgun again for Hurts. This time we run a run-pass option, an RPO. And Hurts keeps it, and he's able to get to around the right end for 8 yards. So that 8-yard run brings up a 2nd and 2 on Dallas's 49. Hurts in the gun again. This time he throws a short pass to Miles Sanders. This time Lawrence beats Pryor inside and grabs Hurts' shoulder as he's releasing the ball, causes a poor throw and an incompletion. So that brings up 3rd and 2 on Dallas's 49. Hurts is in the gun again. Ward is to his right. Goddard's in motion from left to right. Warren runs up and out. Goddard runs underneath Ward and then cups upfield. So I thought a neat structure to the patterns. So Ward runs up and out. Goddard runs underneath Ward and then cups straight upfield. So Ward clears. Goddard goes with him and then goes. When Ward runs to his out pattern, Goddard just goes around him and goes straight up. And it causes confusion with the secondary, which is mostly the point. They get all jammed up. In fact, Ward, I think, even hits some of them. Goddard is wide open. Hurts throws a real good pass for 23 yards and a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 26. I really like that play design. When I get to, this is the first time I've recorded my podcast on video. As I evolve, I'm going to have video clips as well on here, so you'll be able to see them. But that's one I would like to have shown you because it's a real unique pattern, and that's one of the things I look for. You know, a lot of times, especially with the Eagles, we seem to run a lot of deep routes, and there isn't often an underneath guy, and that was often the problem with Wentz, is that he would just hold the ball, waiting for those long developing routes to open instead of throwing it away or running or whatever. But this was a really neat play, really, and it worked out well. Hopefully, it's something that we play again. We run again. So on that 3rd and 2, excellent play for 23 yards, brings up a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 26. This time Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back, good protection. Again, nobody is open. The pocket starts to collapse, so Hurts climbs it well, finds Ertz open, and throws it somewhat behind him. Ertz can't catch it. I thought it was a bad pass at first, but after looking at the replay, if Hurts puts it more in front or on Ertz, where it's easier for him to catch, their safety Thompson is going to drill him as soon as the ball gets there. So I think Hurts threw it behind him on purpose to prevent him from getting his head taken off. You're as a quarterback, when you're throwing crossing patterns, especially in the middle of the field, you're not really supposed to hang them up high. You're supposed to keep them lower because you're putting your receiver in a bad spot. So I don't think it was a bad pass. I think he was trying to help Ertz a little bit. I think Ertz should have been able to catch it. But he didn't. He dropped it. So that was a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 26. So that incompletion brings up a 2nd and 10 on Dallas's 26. We run Sanders to the left for 6 yards, brings up a 3rd and 4 on Dallas's 20. This time Hurts is in the gun, throws a deep pass to Rager. He has good protection. Rager was open. He just throws it too high. It was just a bad pass. And he had a couple of those, which frankly, nobody expected him to do as well as he did the first 2 games. We expected him to make a handful of mistakes, which is what he did throughout this game. He made a handful, not a lot. And it's expected. So too high of a pass, incomplete pass, brings up 4th and 4 on Dallas's 20. So we kick a field goal. It's good. So that makes the score 17-13 in favor of the Eagles. That was a 10-play, 55-yard drive. Took 3 minutes and 44 seconds. So we kick off. Cowgirls get the ball at their 25 with 2 minutes and 9 seconds left in the half. Dalton throws a pass on the right-hand side to CD Lamb for 6 yards. We're in zone prevent. They throw the ball underneath, so it's a pretty easy completion. That brings up the 2-minute warning. 2nd and 4 on Dallas's 31. They run Pollard up the middle for no gain. Brings up 3rd and 4 on Dallas's 31. This time Dalton throws a pass to Gallup to 5 yards. Slade's giving a bunch of cushion, 10 yards plus at the snap. Ball's thrown underneath. So that brings up 1st and 10 on Dallas's 36. Dalton throws another pass, this time over the middle to Pollard for 8 yards. Again, we're in zone prevent. Ball is thrown underneath the coverage. So they get another 8 yards. So that brings up a 2nd and 2 on Dallas's 44. Dalton's in the shotgun again. This time he throws to Schultz over the middle, but fortunately Malik Jackson's able to tip it. So that incomplete pass brings up a 3rd and 2 on Dallas's 44. Dalton's in the shotgun again, throws another pass, this time to Schultz. We don't get any pressure. Jaquette falls in coverage for the first time this game, leaving Schultz wide open. Dalton throws it to him for 16 yards and a 1st and 10 on our 40. Dalton's in the shotgun again. This time he throws a short pass to Elliott on the right-hand side for 4 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 6 on our 36. This time Ezekiel runs to the left for 3 yards. That was actually considered a lateral from Dalton to Elliott, not a pass. So they take the Cowgirls call a timeout with 31 seconds left, 3rd and 3 on our 33. Dalton throws a short pass this time to Lamb for 7 yards. Epps is given Lamb, I think it was a good 15-yard cushion. Lamb runs 5 yards, turn around, catches the ball, gets 2 more before he can get tackled. So that 7-yard completion, Dallas calls a timeout. So that 7-yard completion gives Dallas a 1st and 10 on our 26 with 23 seconds left in the half. Dalton this time throws a pass deep left to Gallup. Jaquette's in coverage, gave Gallup a good 3+ yard cushion. Gallup plants, turns around. Dalton throws an accurate pass. Jaquette can't recover in time. Just bad coverage by Jaquette. Although I don't know that I blame him. I mean, in that situation, 1st and 10 on our 26, you don't want to give him too much space, but at the same time, you don't want to get burned again. So I don't know that I blame Jaquette for giving Gallup or Cooper or even Lamb, some of the better receivers in the league, extra cushion. So that 19-yard completion brings up a 1st and goal on our 7. This time Dalton's in the gun again. He throws a pass, this time to the left to Gallup. Jaquette again is in good coverage. He's just too late to make a play on the ball. He's covered. He has Gallup covered well, but he doesn't turn around and make a play quickly enough. The ball goes right past him. Gallup catches it for a touchdown. They make the extra point. So that brings the score to Eagles 17, Cowgirls 20. That was an 11-play, 75-yard drive. Took 1 minute and 57 seconds. And if you remember, started with only 2 minutes and 9 seconds left in the half. So Dallas, unfortunately, was able to drive down the field in less than 2 minutes and score a touchdown. So they kick off. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 25 with 12 seconds left in the half. Run Boston Scott for 12 yards, call a timeout. 1st and 10 on our 37 with 7 seconds. Throw a pass to Greg Ward underneath for 10 yards. He runs out of bounds. 1st and 10 on our 47 with 3 seconds. Prior false starts. We lose 5 yards, so it brings 1st and 15 on our 42. 3 seconds left. Hurts throws a pass over the middle to Rager for 15 yards, but that ends the half. So that brings us to the 3rd quarter. Dallas gets the ball. 1st and 10 on their 25. They give it to Elliott, this time off the left-hand side for 5 yards. Brings up a 2nd and 5 on Dallas's 30. Dalton passes to Cooper, short pass over the right-hand side for 11 yards. Jaquette again was covering Cooper, gave him a good 8+ yard cushion. So that brings up a 1st and 10 for the Cowgirls on their own 41. This time Dalton is under center, drops back. We have excellent coverage. No one's open. Ty McGill's able to get some pressure on Dalton, forcing him to run to the right. And we end up pushing him out of bounds. He's only able to get 5 yards. So that brings up a 2nd and 5 on Dallas's 46. They run Pollard to the right for 2 yards. That brings up a 3rd and 3 on Dallas's 48. So we got Dalton in the gun, Lamb in motion, covered man by Roby, so when you're watching it on TV, Lamb comes in motion far to near. So if you're a fan of the Cowgirls and you're in their perspective, from left to right across the field. If you're Eagles in defense, from right to left. So Lamb goes in motion from right to left across the field if you're the Eagles defense, and Roby follows him. At the snap, Roby goes up to him, bumps him a little bit, and then looks downfield. And when he does that, Lamb just jets, just goes straight up the field, wide open, not covered by anybody. And of course, Dalton, who we have turned into one of the best quarterbacks in the league, at least for this game, sees him wide open, throws an easy pass for 52 yards and a touchdown. So our 14-3 lead has completely diminished. And now after that 52-yard touchdown and a good extra point, we are now losing by 10 points. We have 17. The Cowgirls have 27. That was a 5-play, 75-yard drive that took 2 minutes and 34 seconds. They kick off. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 25 with 12 minutes and 20 seconds left in the third quarter. Run Miles Sanders up the middle for 6 yards, brings up a 2nd and 4 on our 38. Run Miles Sanders again, this time the left-hand side. He only gets 1 yard, so it brings up a 3rd and 3 on our 32. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Dallas is bringing 3. They're blitzing. Jeffrey is open over the middle, but he doesn't. But Hurts isn't looking in his direction, unfortunately. Gregory's able to beat Malata outside and puts pressure on Hurts. Hurts ends up rolling to his right, forced to throw it away. So that brings up a 4th and 3 on our 32. So we have to punt. Cowgirls get the ball 1st and 10 on their 17 with 10 minutes and 53 seconds left in the third quarter. They run Elliott up the middle for 5 yards, brings up a 2nd and 5 on Dallas's 22. Dalton's in the gun. He's got Cooper to his right, covered man by Jaquette. Cooper fakes outside, then runs inside. Jaquette twists his hips outside, and instead, which is a mistake. Poor mechanics, poor technique. So then when Cooper goes inside, Jaquette tries to recover, and the way he does is he tries and pushes off both feet to kind of hop and twist, but he falls. And in fact, Jaquette is falling onto his ass while the ball is in the air and Cooper's breaking on his route. It's somewhat embarrassing. He's a rookie. I guess he's going to have embarrassing moments, and he's got some confidence behind him and his teammates, but just a bad play, bad technique, bad footwork. So he gets beat. Arnold's the deep safety, and he's the last man to have a shot at Cooper, but he misses the tackle. And he does that at around our 40-yard line. So Cooper basically, after that missed tackle, is able to run for another 28 yards before we're able to catch up with him and push him out of bounds. So the whole play was a total of 69 yards. So that 69-yard play brings up a 1st and goal on our 9. They run Elliott up the middle for no gain. Unfortunately, we are offsides, so that brings up a 1st and 4. I'm sorry, 1st and goal on our 4. They're in shotgun. They run Elliott up the middle this time for another yard, so it brings up 2nd and goal on our 3. Dalton's in the shotgun, throws a pass this time on the left-hand side to Cooper. Cooper was open. Pass was good. Cooper dropped it, thank goodness. So that brings up a 3rd and goal on our 3. This time Dalton's in the shotgun again. Throws left over to Cooper, but this time Cooper's covered by Mills. Mills has good coverage. The throw's short, incomplete. 4th and goal on our 3. They kick a field goal. So they go up 30-17. That was a 6-play, 80-yard drive. Took 2 minutes and 22 seconds. All right, so we get the ball 1st and 10 on our 25 with 8 minutes and 31 seconds left in the third quarter. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Initially, no one is open. Gregory for the Cowgirls is bull rushing inside. Then he spins and he's able to put some pressure on Hurts. But Malata, even though he got beat a little bit with that spin, recovers very well, turns around and blocks Gregory right at the last minute before he hits Hurts. Hurts is able to then move around and roll to his left. He sees Watkins wide open downfield, throws a decent pass. And I say decent because it was a little short, but it's a 43-yard pass. Gives us a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 32. I want to point out, Malata struggled. He's done well, but he's had his moments, and this is one of them. Gregory was able to beat him with a spin move, but he's able to recover and able to block Gregory right before he hits Hurts. So good job by Malata to recover. Good job by Hurts because he follows his offensive line blocking to climb the pocket, give himself some extra time. He kept looking downfield and found Watkins for the long reception. And good job by Watkins to keep working and to stay open. Another thing that I noticed with some of our receivers, and possibly it's inexperience, is that oftentimes even when Wentz was running around trying to find somebody open, they almost like they give up. They're not they haven't had a lot of success improvising, and that can be when the game gets the most exciting. But we haven't been able to do it. That was one there where it was again good job by everybody and a good play. So that 43-yard completion brings up a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 32. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Again, nobody's open initially. Gregory runs outside and runs inside again on Malata, getting a clean shot. So 2nd play where he's getting beaten. This time he can't recover. Gets a clean shot. Gregory gets a clean shot on Hurts, who fumbles when he's hit. The good news about Malata is that he was around because he just got beat. He's able to jump on the ball, and we don't lose possession. So that was an 8-yard. Well, it was an 8-yard loss on the sack, but then there was some yards lost because of the fumble. So it was a loss of 13 yards in total. So that brings up a 2nd and 23 on Dallas's 45. Hurts is in the shotgun again. Initially, he had got it open, and it looked like he was going to throw it. And this is a little concerning if it becomes a pattern, because he started to hesitate, and that was one of Wentz's biggest problems. If he throws the ball when he sees got it open, just do it, just get the ball out. Much bigger play. Unfortunately, he pulls it down, doesn't feel comfortable. He also sees Ward flash open down the middle. I'm not sure why he doesn't pull the trigger on that, but he does, and he doesn't throw either Goddard or Ward. But he felt pressure, rolled right, and eventually had to run out of bounds. Gets 3 yards on 2nd and 23, but there were 2 receivers open, and hopefully it didn't become an issue the rest of the game, but hopefully it doesn't become an issue going forward. This is hopefully just a fluke for him hesitating. But so that 3-yard run brought up a 3rd and 20 on Dallas's 42. Hurts again in the shotgun. This time he throws to Miles Sanders on the right-hand side. He had good protection. Initially, nobody was open. Tries to dump it off to Sanders in the flat, but it's high, and he's unable to catch it. So another bad throw by Jalen Hurts. Just a rough throw. And I'm going to say it's a bad throw by Hurts, but technically, I think Sanders could have caught it. I'm a big believer, if you can touch it, you can catch it. And Sanders had a pretty decent. He didn't just tip it; he had a full hand on the ball. I feel like he probably could have caught it. Anyway, bad pass, not a catch. So on 3rd and 20, we don't convert, so we have to punt. Cowgirls get the ball 1st and 10 on their 15 with 6 minutes and 7 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. They run Pollard to the right for 7 yards, brings up 2nd and 3 on their own 22. They run Pollard up the middle, this time for 1 yard, brings up a 3rd and 2 on their own 23. This time, Dalton dumps the ball off to their tight end Schultz, only able to get a yard. Good play by Wallace and McGill to tackle him for only 1 yard. So that 1 yard gain brings up a 4th and 1. So Dallas punts, so a quick 3 and out. Very nice. So we get the ball 1st and 10 on our 37, 3 minutes and 59 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Hurts in the shotgun. This time he throws a pass to Goddard on the right-hand side, 10 yards. Good protection, quick, accurate pass. That brings up a 1st and 10 on our 47. Shotgun again for Hurts. This time he throws a deep pass to the right. He had good protection. No one was open. A couple times he did leave the pocket early, and this was one of them. He rolls right even though there wasn't any pressure. It causes pressure, and then he has to end up throwing it away. Better than an interception or a sack or a fumble, but he should have hung out and maybe waited for some people to come open. He had time. So that brings us to 2nd and 10 on our 47. We run Jordan Howard to the right for 5 yards, brings up 3rd and 5 on our 48. This time Hurts ends up scrambling to the left for 2 yards. Good protection initially. Unfortunately, nobody was open. The pocket collapses, and Hurts rolls to his left and is eventually forced out of bounds. After that 2-yard run, brings up a 4th and 3 on Dallas's 46. I'm not sure if we were going to go for it or try and get Dallas to jump, because we only needed 3 yards. But either way, we get a delay of game penalty, so it doesn't work out whatever we were planning. It brings up 4th and 8 on our 49, so we punt. Cowgirls get the ball 1st and 10 on their 10-yard line. 1 minute and 48 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. This time Dalton is under shotgun. Throws a short pass to Elliott that turns out to be 14 yards. Kayvon Wallace is in coverage. He misses the tackle after about a 7-yard gain, and Elliott's able to grab another 7 yards after that missed tackle. So after that 14-yard run, 14-yard pass, that's a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 24. This time Dalton keeps it. He runs up the middle, gets 3 yards, brings up a 2nd and 7 on Dallas's 27. This time Dalton's in the gun. He drops back. We're in zone. Throws over the middle for Lamb, who is open for a second, but Slay is reading Dalton's eyes, and he actually sees that Dalton's looking at Lamb down the middle, breaks off his pattern, runs under the ball that's thrown to Lamb, and is able to grab it for an interception. Excellent play by Slay. He's able to return it all the way down to Dallas's 28. So after that interception by Slay, we have a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 28 with 38 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Hurts is in the shotgun. This time he throws over the middle to Rager. Good protection. Bad throw, though. Incomplete and behind Rager. So that brings up a 2nd and 10 on Dallas's 28. We run Miles Sanders off the right-hand side for 18 yards. Unfortunately, Matt Pryor was holding, and you can actually see it, and I believe it would have had an impact on the run. So that holding penalty is a 10-yard penalty. So that brings up 2nd and 13 on Dallas's 31. We decide we're gonna do 2 penalties in a row, and we false start. So after that false start, the quarter ends. So we're at the end of the 3rd quarter. So we start the 4th quarter. We have the ball, 2nd and 18 on Dallas's 36. Hurts is in the shotgun. This time he throws over to Reagor. Good protection. Reagor was open, but Gregor's able to tip the ball at the line, and it's incomplete. So that brings up a 3rd and 18 on Dallas's 36. We false start. Sayamalu specifically false starts. 5-yard penalty. Brings up 3rd and 23 on Dallas's 41. Hurts throws a short pass to Ertz for 8 yards underneath. Brings up a 4th and 15 on Dallas's 33. We could kick a field goal, but it would be about a 50-yard field goal. The kicker's at about 7 yards from the line of scrimmage. That's about where the ball is placed when they kick it. And then, of course, you have 10 yards in the end zone to compensate for. So you got to add 17 yards to wherever you're at, roughly. So it's about a 51-yard field goal. I don't have enough confidence in our kicker that he would be able to kick it. So we go for it on 4th and 15. Another short pass, this time to Ertz again for 8 yards underneath. They're allowing us to have those underneath patterns. So on 4th and 15, we aren't able to convert. We turn over on downs. So the Cowgirls get the ball 1st and 10 on their own 25 with 14 minutes left in the game. Elliott runs on the right-hand side for 14 yards, brings up a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 39. Elliott runs up the middle again for 9 yards. They have a lead. Elliott is a big back. They can, in theory, just run the clock down. So that 9-yard run brings up a 2nd and 1 on Dallas's 48. They run Elliott again, this time to the right side for 3 yards. That brings up a 1st and 10 on our 49. This time they run Pollard. We actually are able to stop him and lose. He actually loses 1 yard, so that brings the ball back to midfield. So that brings up 2nd and 11 at midfield. Dalton's in the shotgun again. This time he throws a short pass to Cooper on the left-hand side. Only gets 6 yards. Good coverage by Mills, who immediately tackles Cooper after he catches the ball. So good play by Mills. That brings up a 3rd and 5 on our 44. Dalton in the shotgun again. We bring 6. But we're not able to get there in time. Dalton is able to get a pass out before we get to him to Lamb, who's open, but Lamb doesn't catch it. Thank goodness. So the ball falls incomplete. That brings up a 4th and 5 on our 44. So they punt. We get the ball at our own 13, 1st and 10 with 10 minutes, 14 seconds left in the game. Hurts from the shotgun. Throws a pass to the right to Sanders for 9 yards. Had good protection through a quick, accurate pass. That brings up 2nd and 1 on our 22. Hurts throws another pass, this time over the middle to Ward. Has good protection. Ward is open, but he throws a bad pass behind Ward and uncatchable. So unfortunately, another bad pass by Hurts. So that brings up 3rd and 1 on our 22. This time we run Sanders up the middle. He's able to get 3 yards on 3rd and 1. So that brings up a 1st and 10 on our 25. Hurts in the shotgun again, drops back. Throws a deep pass to Alshon Jeffrey on the right-hand side. He's got good protection. Alshon has a step on Diggs. Hurts throws a perfect pass just over Diggs where only Jeffrey can catch it. Great throw. Hurts' deep balls seem to be really accurate. So, and this was a perfect example of it. Over the coverage, which wasn't horrible, where only Jeffrey could catch it, goes out of bounds. So great throw, great route. Good job by offensive line, giving him time. So that was a 22-yard completion, brings up a 1st and 10 on our 47. We run Boston Scott, this time on the right-hand side for 5 yards, brings up a 2nd and 5 on Dallas's 48. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. The pocket starts to collapse. He scrambles, and he's tackled from behind as he's throwing. That causes an incomplete pass. So it brings up a 3rd and 5 on Dallas's 48. Hurts in the gun again. This time he throws over the middle to Ertz. He's got good protection, throws a quick, accurate pass right to Ertz, who's wide open for 17 yards. So it brings up a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 31. Hurts again in the gun, throws a pass on the left-hand side to Sanders. It's a 6-yard completion. He had good protection. Nobody else was open. Dumps it off to Sanders again for 6 yards. So that brings up 2nd and 4 on Dallas's 25. We decide to exchange penalties. First, Sayamalu is a false start that costs us 5 yards. That brings up 2nd and 9 on Dallas's 30. Then Smith, for the defense, Dallas's defense decides to commit a neutral zone infraction. So it's another 5 yards. So it washes. So we're back to 2nd and 4 on Dallas's 25. Hurts is in the shotgun again. We throw a wide receiver screen to Reagor. He's able to get 10 yards. Good blocking, good run. Brings up a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 15. Hurts is in the shotgun again. He drops back. He's got good protection. He sees the middle of the field opening up, wide open, nobody there. So he jets. He just guns it to run right down the middle of the field. Unfortunately, Gallimore and Gregory converge quickly. He's not able to hit the hole quickly enough, and they are able to tackle him behind the line. He loses 2 yards. That's considered a sack. I don't know. Statistically, it's a sack, right? So was the one where he stepped out of bounds, and so was the other one where he ran out of bounds because he wasn't able to get enough yards. This one specifically, I don't know if it's necessarily a sack. He saw some space and ran. They were able to get him before he got across the line of scrimmage, but I don't consider this a typical sack where you drop back, your offensive line's beat, and they get you in the backfield. That's a traditional sack. So still technically a sack, but not the same kind of a sack. So anyway, so that 2-yard loss and that sack brings up a 2nd and 12 on Dallas's 17. This time Hurts is under center, drops back, throws a pass to Ertz on the right-hand side. No one was open, just basically a throwaway. So that brings up 3rd and 12 on Dallas's 17. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Good protection. Again, no one is open. Hurts tries to roll to his left and tries to force the ball to Fulgham, who's covered well by the guy that's on him. But in addition, Brown is watching Hurts, sees him go and look at Fulgham, who I believe is one of the very few receivers over on that side, and just is able to cut below that ball. If you watch the replay, Brown jumps and catches the ball, grabs the interception, and it's a touchback. But if he misses, I don't know who was covering. I didn't write down who was covering Fulgham. Whoever was covering him would also have gotten an interception. And it's funny because you can see him jump in front of it, act like he caught it, and then he looks around like, where'd the ball go? So horrible decision, horrible throw by Jalen Hurts. Wasn't open. I don't know if he was just throwing it to just hope because we're down so much and there's only 6 minutes left in the game. I'm not sure, but bad pass, bad decision. Our offensive line did a good job, though. We had plenty of time, and the receivers, they should have worked harder to get open. So after that interception and touchback, the Cowgirls have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 20. They run Elliott to the right for 2 yards, brings up 2nd and 8 on Dallas's 22. Elliott again up the middle. This time he gets 4 yards, brings up 3rd and 4 on Dallas's 26. This time Dalton's back in the shotgun. We have excellent coverage. Graham's able to beat his man outside and run down Dalton for a sack and a 6-yard loss on 3rd and 4. So that brings up 4th and 10 on their own 20. So they punt. Good play by the defense. Good play specifically by Brandon Graham. So we get the ball 1st and 10 on our 39 with 4 minutes and 13 seconds left in the game. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Good protection. Alshon Jeffrey has a step on Lewis. Hurts throws the ball deep to Jeffrey, but the pass is short. Jeffrey tries to slow down and catch it. But Lewis runs into him. It's a clear pass interference. It's a 43-yard penalty. Gives us a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 18. Hurts is in the gun again. This time he drops back. Protection is good, but no one's open. The pocket starts to collapse, so Hurts runs to his right, then back to his left. He sees an opening upfield and runs straight towards the end zone, similar to that other play. This time he is tackled around the 13-yard line, and the ball comes out. When you look at the replay, to me, it is clear he has his hand on the ball. He does not lose control. Not only does his right knee hit the ground while he has control, but his left knee hits the ground while he has control. I have no idea what the rationale was behind upholding a fumble ruling. I have no clue. It was clear. I've seen numerous pictures. I'm going to post a picture later of a clear control of the ball, clear both knees down. I honestly don't even know. And this is, to be honest with you, this is somewhat unusual for us. I don't recall us experiencing a lot of bad calls by the refs, but this is 2 in 3 weeks. I believe, I don't think there was anything last week, but 2 weeks ago, I recall there was a pretty blatant bad call, either a no call or a horrible call, one or the other. But this one was rough because, of course, it was a turnover. I completely disagree with this. And if anybody out there knows, like a way to protest, not protest, but to complain about this, I mean, I would imagine the majority of NFL fans would agree that he was down. But in any case, so after that fumble, Dallas gets the ball 1st and 10 on their own 13. 3 minutes and 54 seconds left in the game. So they run Elliott to the left for 31 yards. I was going to say they run him to turn down the clock, but this time Dallas runs a misdirection play. We're not very good at those at all. The O-line crashes down, creating a huge hole. They run their linemen downfield. They block all of our linebackers. That allows Elliott to get to the second level, and then Arnold misses a tackle. So that all comes in. That all adds up to 31 yards for Elliott. So Dallas calls a timeout. So they got 1st and 10 on their own 44. 3 minutes and 1 second left in the game. Elliott runs to the right for no game. We call a timeout. 2:57 left in the game. 2nd and 10. Dallas on their 44. They run Elliott again. This time to the right for 4 yards. We call our last timeout with 2 minutes and 51 seconds left in the game. So this 3rd and 6. Dallas on their own 48. They get a delay of game penalty. So that brings up a 3rd and 11 on their own 43. This time Dalton's in the gun. He drops back. We bring 6. Roby Coleman is the man that's with Lamb. Lamb is running a deep seam and runs right by Roby Coleman. Dalton sees him, but Mills is able to hit Dalton right as he's releasing the ball, causing it to be short. Lamb slows down to catch it. Coleman's in a trail position trying to catch up, runs right into him. If Roby Coleman just turns around, he's in the perfect position to pick it off. Perfect. If our corners, our secondaries, we struggle. We don't have the best secondary in the league by any means. But if they could just do a better job at playing the ball when in coverage, there'd be light years of change. There was numerous touchdowns last week where our corners had good coverage. They were right in front of the receiver, but they weren't looking at the ball. And so while their back is to the ball, it just goes right by him and the receiver catches him. So again, we if we could play the ball better, we'd be able to knock it down, or even easier, have an interception. Instead, trying to recover, he commits a pass interference, 34-yard penalty, and Dallas gets the ball 1st and 10 on our 23. They run Pollard left side for 4 yards, but we're offside, so there's a 5-yard penalty. Brings up 1st and 5 on our 18. They run Pollard again, this time to the left and lose a yard. Brings up a 2nd and 6 on our 19. Dalton's under center, fakes to Elliott to the left. Basically everybody on our team falls for it. Then he hands off to Lamb, who was in motion and running to the right. Our safety Arnold has a chance, but's blocked by their tight end Schultz. Lamb is in for a 19-yard touchdown score. So that touchdown run brings the score to 37-17. That was a 5-play, 87-yard drive. Took 2 minutes and 1 second off the clock. They kick off. We get the ball. 1st and 10 on our 25, 1:53 left in the game. Hurts throws a pass over the middle to Watkins for 14 yards. He had good protection. It was a quick, accurate pass. Good route by Watkins to push off coverage. Then he cut inside to get open. So good play. So that brings up 1st and 10 on our 39. 1 minute and 33 left in the game. Hurts is in the gun. This time he throws the ball short right to Ertz, but he drops it. So that's an incompletion. Brings up 2nd and 10 on our 39 with 1:27 left. Hurts this time throws a pass short on the left-hand side to Sanders, who runs out of bounds for 9 yards. Brings up a 3rd and 1 on our 48. Hurts this time is in the shotgun, drops back, has good protection. No one's open, so he throws the ball away. It was in the area of Watkins, but uncatchable. So it brings up a 4th and 1 on our 48. We line up in the shotgun to go for it. Pryor's offside. So false start, 5-yard. Brings up a 4th and 6 on our 43, 1:13 left in the game. Hurts is in the gun again, drops back. Good protection. Nobody's open, so he takes off, runs up the middle for 8 yards. Brings up a 1st and 10 on Dallas's 49. 54 seconds left in the game. Hurts drops back. Good protection. Throws a quick, accurate throw to Fulgham, who's cutting and working back to Hurts. Makes a good catch inbounds and then goes out for 8 yards. So excellent route by Fulgham. Not only does he drop and push his receiver off, but then he turns around and doesn't just stand there. He actually works his way back to Hurts. So that brings up a 2nd and 2 on Dallas's 41. Hurts throws a pass this time to the right-hand side. Didn't go to anybody. My best guess is this was an incompletion or a miscommunication. He thought Ertz was going to cut the pattern short. Ertz took it deep, incomplete pass. Brings up a 3rd and 2 on Dallas's 41. 45 seconds left in the game. Hurts is in the shotgun, throws a deep pass to Rager, and it's picked off by Diggs. Diggs, I think he runs 10 yards to the 31. They kneel on it, and that's the end of the game. All right, so let's quick get to game notes. Hurts overall had a decent game. 2 of his 3 sacks I mentioned were him running, not necessarily because there was pressure. One was a touchdown if he hadn't touched out of bounds. The other one I mentioned, he was intentionally running, thinking there was space, and the hole closed more quickly than he expected. His completion percentage is low. That's something that people will probably pick apart. But if you remember, he threw away a number of passes because nobody was open. And I'd rather him have a low completion percentage instead of having more interceptions and more sacks. He threw a couple of poor passes, something that hopefully doesn't continue. The interceptions, there was 30 seconds left in the game. He was just throwing it up. The other one was admittedly a bad decision, but he did still look off the safety with that 81-yard touchdown pass, which is good. He's still throwing accurately, especially with deep passes, still making quicker decisions. The few exceptions to those things I think are expected when you're dealing with a rookie who before the Dallas game only had 2 NFL starts. His final stats were 21 for 39, which is around 54% completion percentage for 342 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. His quarterback rating was 70.7. He was sacked 3 times and lost 16 yards with those sacks. He also ran 9 times for 69 yards, which is about 7.7 average. One other thing to note, while Wentz was our quarterback, we had 1 game of total offensive yardage of 400 yards or more, and that was October 22nd versus when we played the Giants. Our offense has gained over 400 yards in all 3 starts that Hurts has had. And in fact, Hurts had 411 yards all on his own against Dallas. I think we've talked, and I've been talking about it actually since our game against Cleveland, how we do well with the run initially and then abandon it, which makes sense because we've been down. But we did it again. At halftime, we had already ran for 108 of our 151 total rushing yards. Miles Sanders at halftime had 11 rushes for 40 yards. He ran the ball 4 more times the rest of the game. Our defense struggled significantly with the pass. Gallup and Cooper, they each had exactly 121 yards. We know that Jaquette, I think, gave up almost 200 yards on his own. Slay had a couple of bad plays. One, we gave up 35 yards. Rolby Coleman gave up, I think, the 52-yard pass play. We missed tackles. I mean, it wasn't just one corner that made Andy Dalton look like a superstar. His stats were 22 for 30, 73%. He completed 73% of his passes, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a quarterback rating of 134.7. Penalties, I couldn't find a stat, but we had more penalties this game than I'm pretty sure all season. 12 penalties for 115 yards, some of them very meaningful. And I mentioned earlier, this is the second time in 3 games we had some pretty bad calls by the refs, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. All right, that's it for the Bald Eagle podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. Please follow me on all social media. I am at Bald Eagle 4133 on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Go Eagles.